history, past and present for you. Meeting friends old and new. Streaming Wednesdays and Saturdays too. With founder members Paul and Sue. The smiles that we bring are a heritage thing. HDPP, keeping history alive. HDPP, streaming HDPP live. Where local memories survive. HDPP, streaming HDPP live. Film clips, photos, memories and friends helps a dreary night go by. Wearing Hinckley's 6 of the best, stupendous quizzical high. The smiles that we bring are a heritage thing. HDPP, keeping history alive. HDPP, streaming HDPP live. Where local memories survive. HDPP, streaming HDPP live. Let's take you back in time. A community affair. We'll take you for a ride. Henson's Cab will take you there. We're making history. HDPP, chat room pauses. History aside. Local pauses. Streaming HDPP live. Betty is our queen bee. The sweetest honey candy. Dangerous Den here again. HDPP live. Hey, you know it, keep it HDPP.
And here we go again. Oh, hello. Oh, hello. Good evening. How are you? Are you good? Are you well? Excellent, excellent. Welcome to a Sunday evening live here from Hinckley, here on Hinckley District Past and Present Live. Oh, it's good to be back, my word. And as you can probably tell by my tones, yes, the antibiotics have worked. Yes. Somebody said, what about the laxatives? Now stop it. It's great to be back with you and to actually be able to get through the programme, probably without too much spluttering. I've even got my watering aid here and stuff, and I'm looking forward to a great programme. We've had a very busy time since the last time I sat here sitting talking to you. But firstly, as always, you can contribute into the programme by going in here, look into our chat room. Plenty of people. You'll always get a warm welcome in there. They're ever so welcoming and friendly in there. Hello, Anne. Nice to know that you're here. Hope everything's okay with you. And John, Mr. Smugly, he's already got the anagram. Tell us what it is, John, and we'll go from there. And Pat Galloway's in as well, as is David, of course, somewhere out there in Canal Land, I think. Oh, no, there's two Davids. There's David's 32, and then there's Dave B. Dave B was on the cut. And whatnot. But anyway, other Davids are welcome and they are available, and it's nice that you're with us this evening. Who else is in there? Yeah, Mrs. Smuggler's in there. Steve down on the farm, he's here as well. And Daniel Coburn, all the regulars are in there already, so you'll always get a nice warm welcome. Jeff and Anna, they're back up at Brig. You see, they move to Hinckley and then they go back home. I can't work it out. I'm confused. I'm confusing. Have a good night tonight with us, guys. And welcome to Dangerous Den, of course. He's here. He was with me yesterday. Dangerous Den have been very, very helpful. He takes the old boy, me, to the scanning sessions these days, but always very, very helpful. That just a couple of hours every month that go really do help me a lot, because there's not enough of me to go round. I can't do it all, but it's a big help, mate. So thank you very much indeed. Daniel Coburn, as I say here. Kevin Beasley from Babbage is here. Jan Kirby, Carol Beasley, and Gary. He's from France, but we're not going to hold that against him, are we? Nice to have you all here. In the programme, all the regular features, of course. We've got our fun quiz. We've got some features for you tonight. And hopefully you're going to enjoy all what we've got lined up. Now, I mentioned earlier who had scanning yesterday, and we had a good session yesterday. It was a busy day in church for Dennis and myself, but we had some good stuff come through. So thank you to Sylvia Whitworth from Burbage Heritage Group. She brought some stuff in, which I should be posting over the week to come, which is really good. Some pictures taken of Princess Margaret's visit, but not the ones you've seen. These are some which were taken on site during the visit. So we'll be posting some of that, and one or two other great things which turned out was really, really good. So that's great. Now then, just a reminder before we do anything else, Wednesday evening, it's our presentation evening. So we're looking forward to you being there, of course. Get there a little bit early if I was you. On that night, it's always a busy night, but a good night too. And the local good causes will be there to receive their donations from our fundraising this year. Now then, before I go any further, let us get down to business straight away by saying, let's have the quiz. Get the quiz down so you can be working on that while you watch the rest of the programme. And people enjoyed last week's quiz. It was very good, wasn't it? And I think we're going to do something rather similar today. So if you've got your pens and paper ready now, as always, don't put your answers in the chat room yet. Wait till the end of the programme, and then I'll ask you to put the answers in, and then total up your scores, blah, de, blah, de, blah. Okay then, so if you're all sitting there ready, got some good questions for you this week. Let's see how you do with our weekly quiz. It used to be called 6 of the Best, but due to cutbacks, we've had to make it just 4 questions. Here we go with question number 1. I discovered this the other day, and I thought, I've never used that question before, so here we go then. Question 1. Where in Old Hinckley was the Round Hill? Oh, and it's not where you think, I'm sure. It's a good question. Nice question. Well done, Paul. I will explain all at the end, but knowing Mr. Smugly, he'll already have that one in the bag. Where in Old Hinckley was the Round Hill? And what was it exactly? You're going to learn something tonight. That's question number 1 here on our quiz. Question number 2 is a bit of a general knowledge question for you. Which country is known as the land of the long white cloud? Hey, well, big wigwam. Nothing like it, yeah. What land is known as the long white cloud? I didn't know this till the other day, so don't give yourself a bad time if you don't know it. Right, okay, moving on to our next question. Here's our little teaser for you. In a bus, there is a 26-year-old pregnant lady, a 30-year-old policeman, a 52-year-old random woman, and the driver, who is 65 years old. Who is the youngest? I'm going to leave it at that. You can work it out for yourself. But it's pretty easy, actually. Pretty easy. That is absolutely it is. And on to our ever-famous, world-renowned anagram. Right then, Bold Churchwomen Jess Vendor, if you rearrange that, it's quite easy actually. We're looking for a local village and its church. A local village and its church. If you get the village, you'll get the church. It's that easy because I'm feeling quite generous. So one more time, let's go through it one more time. Where in Old Hinckley was the Round Hill? Fascinating, you'll learn it later. Which country is known the land of the long white cloud? There is I think Captain Jeff might get that. He might do. And here is our little cryptic question, or call it a little teaser. In a bus, there is a 26-year-old pregnant lady, a 30-year-old policeman, a 52-year-old random woman, and the driver, who is 65. But who is the youngest? That is the question. A bit of a teaser there. Work it out and make a note of it. And Bold Churchwomen Jess Vendor. We're looking for a local village and its church. A local village and its... And he's already got the anagram. Yeah, I know he'd already got the anagram. Mr. Smug. He never lets you down. Never lets you down, you know. He's always... Just sits there. I've got the anagram because I work at Myra. That's all. Yeah. Anyway, lovely. And I'll just say hello quickly to Carol Beasley, who's just popped in, and she said, Paul, I was talking to Michael Good the other day. Say hello. It's great that you've said hello. I'm saying hello back, so because I have not seen Michael Good since I left school. In fact, a year before that, because I seem to remember he went to the old grandma school after Mount Grace, and I stayed on, and I didn't see Mick much after that. But anyway, nice that he's still about, and he remembers the old boy. Just well done. So I'm saying hello back if ever he decides to tune in this way. He won't know me without the air now. I know he won't. That's been gone a long time, I can tell you. Okay, Jeff Wallace said, we have the anagram. Oh, it's too easy. The anagram's gone before I've got to the first feature. What's going on there? But anyway, yeah. And Pat said, I think I've got the aniogram too. Well done. Something you can work with all through the evening as we get through to our features. A reminder then, before our first feature this evening, of the old school assembly and songs and stuff that's coming up. It's coming up next month. It's just a month away now. And it's all part of the Organ Marathon, or the Organathon, as they're calling it. Makes me smile when I say it. However, taking place in the church, of course, but in the last hour of the Organathon, which will be on the 21st of March, between 3 and 4, it's going to be our old school assembly hymns and songs. It's going to be a super afternoon. I'm really looking forward to it. And as I say, there'll be refreshments, tea, coffee, cakes, and a lot of good old banter on the day. So looking forward to that very much indeed. So, okay, it's a Saturday afternoon this time. But however, we will be organising another one, obviously. Well, I should imagine after this one, it'll be next year now. Years, we can't stop it, I tell you. But looking forward to that. And you can vote for your favourite hymn. There's the email address, HDPP... hymns, all one word, look, hdpphymns@gmail.com, and we will sing the top 3, of God's greatest hits. I'm really looking forward to that. It's going to be good, always fun and great to do. Very uplifting as well. Okay, into our first feature. We've got 1 or 2 this evening. We have got a local feature as well, but first... I thought, firstly, actually, it doesn't matter which way I do it first. I'm just trying to see which one to do. I've got a whole selection here to bring you this evening. So, okay, I know. Let's do. Let me just do feature 3. Let me just get it lined up down here. We've had this one for Stuart Watson's production of Hinckley Now and Then, or Hinckley District as it was. We're just going to focus on the Hinckley bit tonight, which is only a 15-minute section. We've seen it before, but for the benefit of new viewers and new people that do watch this later and not necessarily live, maybe they're going to catch it for the first time. Settle back and relax. It's a 15-minute excerpt from Hinckley District as it was, and we talk all about Hinckley.
Hinckley and its immediate closely associated villages have a fascinating historical background of development. However, physical features, many of which are possibly within living memory, have a more significant story to tell, and so to be reminded in pictures of the past and the present, together with some long forgotten events and happenings, may help to determine if it is for better or for worse. With the use of modern digital photography, a comparison of a few scenes from the late 19th and early 20th centuries and images of today, taken where possible on the same spot, will illustrate in many cases the radical developments that have taken place. Perhaps the Church of St Mary's has remained unchanged more than any other, as seen here from a sketch dating from 1850, with its outer boundaries void of trees, but today it's completely surrounded, and in the summer period when the trees are in full foliage, it provides a sheltered area. Just prior to 1905, this photograph taken from above the clock of the church tower. On the lower front left, this photograph shows the Globe Inn, no longer there, and the Midland Bank had been built. The property on the lower right today houses Flavel's the solicitors. The upper floors of the buildings on Regent Street are today reflections of years gone by, with only a few minor alterations having taken place, although at street level new shop frontages have appeared. From the lower portion of the marketplace, a not too different image exists. The George Inn on the right of the picture, although an inn, from here you could hire a carriage for a funeral or wedding, and billions could be played within. It has been replaced with a new hostelry, but the church dominates the overall scene. Semi-pedestrianisation has been installed and the regular street market features still continue. Unrecognisable with today's scene, the building here has long since been replaced on the corner of Station Road and the marketplace with the HSBC Bank. Throughout this film, many of the photographs show the relaxed atmosphere of people strolling on the trafficless roads. Remembered by many, Hinckley's equivalent of Fortnum and Mason, Simpkin and James, an upmarket delicatessen of the day. The main structure carrying the same upper window design, but the colourful shop frontage fitting to Kentucky Fried Chicken. Close study of the posters in the old shop windows illustrates their pride in selling only British products. I wonder from where today's products come. Turning through 180 degrees and looking down the borough around 1910, past the Castle Cafeteria, we see in the distance the Union Public House. From this spot, the overall picture has not changed significantly. At the head of the marketplace there existed the Bull's Head Inn and Hotel, a major hotel in the town with 30 rooms and stabling for more than 100 horses to the rear. During the early 19th century, the Prime Minister of England, George Canning, stayed here on one occasion, and he was reported as describing it as the vilest inn in the nastiest town, in the dirtiest county that imagination can conceive. A new image has replaced this, with currently the Woolwich Building Society offices, and on the first floor level are regular transmissions of the Foss radio programmes. And now a view up Castle Street from around the 1910 era. No problems with traffic and walking on the street. A thriving shopping street with a whole range and variety of shops. As you enter the lower corner, the remaining buildings reflect what did exist. But as you climb up the now pedestrianised street, most have been replaced with new shops and premises. Although in the years prior to the construction of Hollier's Walk and Castle Street was the only through road, traffic jams became very frequent. It's said that in the days of horse-drawn traffic there were often many disasters with the animals on the steep drop on wet, muddy road conditions. As seen in Victorian days at the junction of Castle Street with Church Walk, but looking down, gives the impression of many more and a wider variety of shops. The upper part of the buildings at the left of this photograph can still be recognised in the current premises of today, and if studied closely, original lead gutterings still exist. Moving to Upper Castle Street, now appearing to be the centre for estate agencies, and in fact in 1778, number 11, the house standing back with double gables, was the home of the Hinckley Grammar School prior to its closure. Grimm's Lane, renamed New Buildings, has seen many changes, the major one being the removing of the Wesleyan Chapel in 1969 and showing a completely different top to Stockwell Head. The old police station partway down Stockwell Head was replaced in 1937, but the attached magistrates' court, seen here on the extreme left, still remains and in fact houses living style. Maybe the prison cells still exist below. Baptist Walk and the offices of Frank Downs the Builders are a prevailing feature. The junction of Stockwell Head and Council Road was once the factory site of Moore, Edie, Murcott and Good. This building, donated to the town in the 1960s, was completely renovated and produced the ever-popular Concordia Theatre. Constantly being modernised, it's the envy of many other cities and towns throughout the UK. The late 1800s and back into Regent Street, known as Duck Paddle Lane, and semi-rural. On the extreme left of this photograph, poplar trees prior to High Cross being built. The junction with Coventry Road in the far distance. Partway back along Regent Street, Blockley's Yard and other jitties. Millington's Bakery may be remembered, and of recent years Oakley Solicitors, which at one period has evidence of having been a motor garage with two men awaiting for customers to drive in. This sign of the motor garage shows evidence of some enterprising entrepreneur. Across the road at the corner of the Horse Fair and George Street stood Edward's Garage with the charabancs for trips to Leicester and into the country. Having financial success with a small hosiery venture linked with a craft margarine promotion, the Edwards Centre was constructed in the late 1950s. Considered to be one of the oldest photographs of Hinckley, these old Tudor cottages were sold in 1866 to the church authorities. They were then demolished and within 2 years replaced by the Congregational Chapel, officially opened in 1868. A fine building which had concerts with the celebrated contralto Kathleen Ferrier performing. To the rear, in the 17th century, there had been a theatre, in which the balcony had collapsed on 2 occasions. Just visible on the right of the screen, the Congregational Chapel is set back from the shop premises on Regent Street. Still in existence, the chapel, now United Reformed Church, has a completely different variety of shops. Market and horse-drawn transport in the borough around 1905 created a busy atmosphere in the town, and today on market days its popularity is accompanied with the NetWest Bank, which used to be Parr's Bank at Leicestershire, and McDonald's, to mention a few. "1956 saw one of the well-attended carnivals and parades passing along Regent Street from the Congregational Chapel. To the right of the chapel was Orcott's bottling premises, being the locality's representative of Marston's Ales. Around the corner behind the Union pub was the restricted Trinity Lane and the Bluebell lodging house. During the 1930s, the town surveyor Mr. Jack Featherstone was the main architect for town reconstruction and slum clearance. The abolition of the Bluebell to widen the road, leaving the Rutland Arms and in the distance the Dog and Gun. Believed to date from the mid-17th century, these cottages on Lower Bond Street were presented to the town by the Atkins Family Company to create a period museum. Continuous maintenance is necessary and the museum houses a fine collection of local memorabilia and is open at weekends and bank holidays during the summer each year. In the early 1900s, a few yards further up Bond Street at the junction with the Hollycroft was the Manor House, an isolation sanatorium with boarded up windows believed to prevent the escape of germs. This was demolished in 1934 to create a new police station. This was completed and opened in April 1937 and today is one of the major junctions in the town. Turning left and down the Hollycroft in 1905, we see a typical country lane scene, with grass verges to both sides of the road, but a fine stand of trees on the right, which are part of the Hollycroft Park, opened in 1935. Co-op shops were many around the town, and the traditional ankle-length aprons here from 1906 at the corner of Wells Lane was the Co-op Bakery. The building, with its still functional feature clock, has been well preserved by Sellers Funeral Undertakers. The Elmley Hotel on Ashby Road has seen very little change since 1920. Although it's had a variety of uses, it's still a distinctive property on this main road into the town. The junction of Derby Road, Leicester Road, New Buildings and Holliers Walk had a major change from the factory of Samuel Davis and Sons, hosiery manufacturers, which used to have within its yards a Wesleyan chapel. Do-it-yourself towards the end of the 20th century saw the emergence of B&Q, but its traffic light system still appears to be the same. Two doors along from De Montfort Street on the Leicester Road in 1921 had the manse stood in rural surroundings, hardly giving the impression of a main road from Leicester through Hinckley to Coventry. Even today, since the construction of the Northern Perimeter Road, this major road is no longer rural but a well-developed area on the eastern approach to Hinckley. The manse, now obstructed by the growth of the fine silver birch trees on its boundaries.
And as they go off to
Now-
Barwell, we haven't got our passports ready, so we'll cut it there. And as I say, we can watch another part of that on another episode of our live broadcast. Now then, how are you doing with the old quiz? I think it's a bit too easy tonight. I think it's too easy. Let's go through the questions one more time because, as I understand it anyway, because Mrs. G-Sal got the anagram straight away, as did a lot of people here already. Let's go through those questions just one more time. Where in Old Hinckley was the round hill? I only discovered this today. I did mention it, but never really thought much about it. Looked into it and oh, that's good. We'll have that as a question. That'll do it. So where in Old Hinckley was the round hill and what did it do, more to the point? It had a purpose. Yeah. Question number 2. Which country is known as the land of the long white cloud? Chief Sitting Bull, he said, no, it's nothing to do with America. just speak with forked tongue type of thing, you know. Anyway, there we go. So which country is known as the land of the long white cloud? And there's our little teaser. There's a bus, there's a 26-year-old pregnant lady, a 30-year-old policeman, 52-year-old. You can read it. Who is the youngest in all that lot? That's what we need to know. So there we go. That's a little teaser for you this evening. And the anagram. So easy tonight. Bold churchwoman Jess Vendor, a local village, and a church. Yes, well, one to Mrs. G pointed out, we should have used a different word instead of putting church. I think, I need somebody to do anagrams and questions for me. There's not enough of me to go round, and I have to do these things quickly, you see, for your entertainment. Right, okay. That's the quiz. We're doing that, of course, once again. Answers will be given towards the end of the broadcast this evening. Okay, then. Now, moving on. I found a lovely little video the other day. Oh, by the way, Annabelle's just turned up. Thank you, Annabelle, for offering your services to take some pictures on Wednesday, because I can't compare the programme and take the photographs, so it's a big help. Thank you. Right then, now then. Right. Oh. I'm just reading the comment, the last comment there. Yes, hello all. I'm just to let you know, I'm not a new face. I'm still the same old mushroom man with my new account. Well, welcome with your new account. Great to know that you're here. Normally, he only pops in on us at Christmas time, but he's here tonight, so that's good. Excellent. Well done. Thank you. Right, now then, it's good. Look, Mushroom Man's got his own fan club in the chat room as well now, so why people go off and have a look at that. A great little feature now. We all know and we miss Woolies now, don't we? Now, I'm going to, first of all, sing the praises of B&M in Castle Street. I do, because I often nip in there for bits and bobs. It's a great little store and everything else. And I always think what a sad gap it would be if Woolworths had, let's say nobody had gone into the Woolworths store when it closed. But memories of Woolworths, and I found this little 5-minute video all about Woolies. I thought, oh yeah, come on, let's do that. Settle back, let's have a bit of nostalgia and go to Woolies.
You didn't just walk into Woolworths, you were hit by it. Something about the place caught you the moment you stepped in. You hadn't bought a thing yet, but you knew exactly where you were. This was Woolies, the one place on the high street that sold everything and meant everything. And if you grew up in Britain during its golden years, you didn't just shop there, you grew up there. So what did it actually feel like? What was it about Woolworths that nowhere else on the high street could match? And why, decades later, do people still miss it? The first thing you noticed, before the sweets, before the toys, before the records, was the floor. In the 1950s and into the 60s, most Woolworths stores had dark stained wooden floors. Not shiny, not polished like a department store. These floors were treated with a thick, pungent wax that gave the place its own heavy scent. You could smell it from the doorway. And decades later, if you caught that same waxy, woody note somewhere, you'd be 10 years old again, standing at the entrance with your pocket money in your hand. And then the peanuts. Many of the larger stores had a warm peanut stand near the entrance. Salt and roasting nuts. That smell, mixed with the floor wax, created something you couldn't forget if you tried. It hit you the moment you walked in from the cold high street. And if you grew up going to Woolworths, you'll know exactly what I mean. The layout was different from anything you'd see today. There were no long aisles, no open shelves stretching to the back. Instead, the shop floor was filled with rectangular island counters, glass-topped and wooden-sided, arranged in rows across the floor. And standing inside each island surrounded by the goods was a shop assistant. You didn't pick things up yourself. You pointed, you asked, and the assistant behind the counter would reach for your item, wrap it, and ring it up on a metal cash register right there in front of you. You could hear those tills from across the shop. That clunk and ding never stopped. For the older shoppers, that personal service was the heart of Woolworths. The assistants knew the regulars. They'd set things aside. They'd tell you when something new had come in. Shopping wasn't rushed, and the island counters made it feel like each one was its own little department. Sweets here, stationery there, haberdashery 2 rows down, sewing supplies in the corner. You could spend an hour just wandering between them, and many people did, especially on a Saturday when the whole town came through. By the late 1950s, things started to change. Woolworths began switching from counter service to self-service, following what the American stores had done years earlier. Slowly, the islands disappeared. The registers moved to tills near the exit, and for the first time, you could actually pick up the items yourself. Walk around. Have a look. Now, if you were a teenager in the late 1950s or early 60s, there was one counter that mattered more than all the rest, the record bar. And at Woolworths, the record bar came with a twist. Between 1954 and 1965, Woolies sold records on its own label. Embassy Records. The idea was simple and clever. A regular 45 RPM single cost around 9 shillings. So Woolworths hired session singers to record cover versions of the week's biggest hits. These Embassy singles cost about half that price, roughly 4 shillings and sixpence. The results were mixed. Some were surprisingly good. Maureen Evans's cover of Stupid Cupid reportedly outsold the Connie Francis original, but others were, well, not quite right. You'd get home, put the needle down, and realize it wasn't Elvis. It wasn't Cliff. It was close. The tune was right. The words were right. But the voice was wrong. And if your auntie had bought it for your birthday, thinking she'd got you the real thing, the disappointment stung. You'd smile and say thank you. But inside, you knew. And yet, when your pocket money only stretched so far, Embassy was all you had. You got 2 songs for the price of 1 real single, a double A-side every time. Between 1954 and 1965, Embassy released around 1,200 songs by about 150 different artists. None of them were ever allowed into the official charts. The major labels made sure of that, but in Woolworths stores across Britain, they sold in their hundreds of thousands. And the legend of George Harrison supposedly telling a reporter that even Woolworths Embassy Records had turned down the Beatles? That says it all, really. When Embassy finally ended in January 1965, after its parent label Oriole was taken over by CBS Records, Woolworths moved on. Real chart music arrived on the shelves, and by the 1970s, the record department had become one of the busiest corners in the store, flipping through singles in their plastic sleeves, checking the top 40, hoping your favorite was in stock. Saturday mornings were built around that ritual. But records were only one part of the Saturday trip, because once you'd browsed the music, there was the rest of the list. The reason your mum had actually brought you into town. School supplies from the stationery counter. A new notebook with the blue and white Winfield label. Winfield was Woolworths' own brand, launched in 1963, and it covered everything.
Oh, we've got memories there of good old Woolies. Don't we miss it? It was quite interesting about the record bit, actually. I remember them Embassy records, particularly the LPs. Then they turned into Top of the Pops. Yeah, they were a bit dire, to be totally honest. But I do remember very, very much in the very early 70s when the very first K-Tel, I've still got it. I've still got the LP, so I've got about 3 or 4 of these original, very early K-Tel original recordings by the original artist. Still got it, and I'll have to dig those out and give them a play. My word, and that was quite a thing at the time because, like I say, the cheap music that they produced there, because you just didn't get those selections. You didn't, But when the original artists and original recordings came out, well, wow, you went out and wow, got all these hits. So very, very happy memories there, but you couldn't beat a good old walk round Woolies. There's always something you could take, like he said, pocket money time. You go in there and blow your pocket money in Woolies. Why not, indeed? And I forgot about the peanuts, actually. I mean, I don't eat peanuts, but yeah, I remember that wafting smell of the peanuts just right by the door. Yeah, happy days and memories. And it does make you wonder sometimes. I mean, I think personally, I like the idea of Woolworths when it had the island tills, as it were, and of course, dare I say it, of course, it's got to have been better than. Because, I mean, with people being so light-fingered these days and shoplifters, I mean, I often think sometimes that would have been much better because, like I say, you went and asked and they got it, rang it up. You couldn't just pick things up. And it makes you wonder whether sometimes some of the shops ought to adopt a bit more of that. Particularly, I think of particularly these the off-licenses and places like that, the 24-hour shops. To someone, you read some awful stories about when they're being robbed and whatnot, and you think, well, if at night time they had a serving hatch and you asked for what you wanted, and then the guy, I think that's better personally, but that's just me. Anyway, and of course, people, Dave B says, some people had lots of Saturday jobs at Woolies, umping stuff around up in the warehouse and stuff. So yeah, Fantastic stuff. Great. And get the Woolies gift cards. Remember Woolies gift? Oh, we're doing some nostalgia tonight. So, and like I said, and that goes across the board, all over, all the Woolworths stores. Great. Okay then. Well, the quiz is too easy tonight. I've officially declared it far too easy. Now I'll keep looking at it, and I think we're going to get a lot of people with 4 out of 4 tonight. Absolutely, no doubt about that. I won't bother. I don't think I'm going to bother repeating the questions at this juncture. But I think what I will do is move straight on to our next feature, because it's about a 20-minute feature, so I want to get on with it. We're going to go back. We've had some nostalgia from Woolies. We've had some Hinckley nostalgia. Let's have some TV nostalgia. Particularly back in the days when TV was worth switching on and watching. Absolutely. So let's have this one. In fact, I've got to make sure it's number. I've got to press button number 1. It says here. You see, the different buttons I have to press to make things happen. No wonder I press the wrong one sometimes. And well, anyway, that's my problem. While this is playing, I'm going to go and make myself a cup of tea, because I think I'm ready for one. Meanwhile, enjoy some British TV nostalgia, the sort of stuff we were watching all those years ago. Enjoy.
Remember when British TV decided when you went home? If you missed an episode, you didn't catch up later, you just missed it. These were the shows people planned dinners around, ran home for, and argued about the next morning. And the first one on this list is the show people still remember where they were watching it, because that's how fixed it once was. Muffin the Mule. Muffin the Mule arrived on BBC television in 1946 as part of For the Children, becoming Britain's first television puppet star. The wooden marionette, operated by Anne Hogarth and presented by Annette Mills at her piano, performed simple stories that captivated post-war audiences. The show ran until 1955, achieving viewing figures of 5 million, despite limited television ownership. Its purpose was providing gentle entertainment for young children in an era when television programming was scarce and experimental. You'd sit cross-legged on the carpet, mesmerised by muffin clip-clopping across the top of Annette Mills' piano. Your mother would hum along to the theme tune while preparing tea. You tried making your own muffin puppet from a sock and wooden spoon, performing shows for your siblings on the kitchen table. The show ended when Annette Mills died in 1955. And the BBC decided the character couldn't continue without her. Television moved toward more sophisticated children's programming, leaving Muffin behind. Andy Pandy. Andy Pandy premiered on BBC television on the 11th of July 1950 as part of the revolutionary Watch with Mother strand. Created by Frida Lindstrom and Maria Bird, the show featured a string puppet boy in a striped suit, living in a picnic basket with his friends Teddy and Luby Lou. 26 episodes were filmed and repeated throughout the decade, designed specifically for preschool children watching with their mothers at Tuesday lunchtimes. The programme introduced structured daily scheduling for young viewers. You knew Tuesday meant Andy Pandy. Your mother would settle you with milk and biscuits precisely at 1:30 p.m, and you'd wave at the screen when Andy waved goodbye. The Time to Go Home song made you genuinely sad. You'd check your toy box afterwards to see if your own Teddy had moved like Luby Lou did when Andy wasn't looking. The original series ended in 1959 as television moved away from repeated filmed inserts toward fresh weekly programming. Whirligig launched in November 1950 as BBC Television's Saturday tea time variety show for children, hosted by Humphrey Lestock and his puppet, Mr. Turnip. The fortnightly programme mixed entertainment, instruction and audience participation, teaching children crafts, magic tricks and songs. It established the format of presenter-led children's entertainment that dominated British television for decades. The show ran until June 1954, with summer breaks, reaching audiences when television ownership was rapidly expanding across Britain. You'd rush through Saturday dinner to watch Mr. Turnip's sketches. Humphrey Lestock showed you how to make papier-mâché masks, and you spent Sunday afternoons attempting the crafts with newspaper and flour paste, creating mess everywhere. Your siblings competed over who could remember the most jokes from the previous week's episode to retell at school. Whirligig ended as the BBC restructured children's programming, replacing single variety shows with specialised programme strands for different age groups. Bill and Ben the Flower Pot Men. Bill and Ben debuted on BBC television on the 18th of December 1952 as part of Watch with Mother, appearing every Wednesday. Created by Frida Lindstrom and narrated by Maria Bird, the string puppets lived in flower pots at the bottom of a garden, speaking oddle-poddle language and getting into mischief with Little Weed. The show reflected Britain's gardening culture and provided gentle moral lessons about friendship and consequences. Only 26 episodes were produced, but endless repeats made the characters household names throughout the 1950s. You'd shout, "Weird," along with Little Weed every Wednesday lunchtime. You and your brother spoke oddle-poddle to each other, driving your parents mad. You checked your own garden flower pots, hoping to find tiny puppets living there. The newspaper in your pockets proved you'd been digging around the flower beds looking for them. The original series ended in 1954, though the episodes repeated for years until television moved to new programming formats. The Quatermass Experiment premiered on BBC television in July 1953, broadcasting live across 6 weeks. Written by Nigel Neal and starring Reginald Tate as Professor Quatermass, this science fiction serial told of Britain's first manned space mission, returning with only one survivor, who transforms into an alien monster. The show achieved viewing figures that emptied streets and terrified the nation, proving television could deliver sophisticated adult drama. It established British science fiction television and demonstrated the medium's power to create shared national experiences. You weren't supposed to watch it, but you crept downstairs and peeked through the living room door. The transformation scenes gave you nightmares for weeks. At school, everyone whispered about the episodes, and you pretended you'd seen more than you actually had to fit in with older children's conversations. The serial's success spawned sequels, but the original's live broadcasts created unrepeatable tension that defined 1950s television drama's experimental boldness. The Grove Family. The Grove Family launched on BBC television in April 1954 as Britain's first television soap opera, broadcast Friday evenings. Set in suburban Hendon, the serial followed the lives of ordinary family members, Father Bob, Mother Gladys and their children, dealing with everyday post-war British life. Named after BBC's Lime Grove studios, the programme established the domestic soap opera format that dominated British television. Episodes were broadcast live, creating authentic tension and occasional mistakes that added to the realism. The show attracted millions of viewers invested in the family's weekly dramas. You'd sit with your parents every Friday night watching The Groves, feeling like you knew them personally. Your mother compared Mrs. Grove's housekeeping to her own. You'd discuss the previous episode with neighbours, everyone having opinions about the family's decisions. The wireless went silent during broadcast time on your street. The series ended in 1957 as BBC experimented with new formats, but it proved domestic serials could captivate British audiences. Picture Book premiered in May 1955 as the Monday instalment of BBC's Watch with Mother strand. Presented initially by Vera McKechnie, the programme featured simple illustrated stories told directly to preschool children, combining narration with paintings and drawings displayed on an easel. The show's purpose was introducing very young children to narrative structure and visual storytelling in an accessible, non-threatening format. The intimate presentation style made children feel the presenter was speaking directly to them, whilst creating personal connection through the television screen. You'd settle in front of the television every Monday with your favourite toy, completely absorbed by the painted pictures. The presenter turned the pages slowly, and you'd lean forward trying to see details. Your grandmother bought you a toy easel afterwards, and you'd recreate your own picture book shows for your younger cousins, carefully turning paper and narrating stories you'd memorised. The format continued into the 1960s, but eventually was replaced by more dynamic animated children's programming. Ian Dixon of Dock Green. Dixon of Dock Green premiered on BBC television on the 9th of July 1955, starring Jack Warner as P.C. George Dixon, the friendly neighbourhood policeman. The series presented idealised views of British policing and community life, with Dixon addressing viewers directly in his famous opening, Evening All, and closing reflections. Each Saturday evening episode dealt with local crimes and moral dilemmas, reinforcing social values and respect for authority. The show became a cultural institution, defining how Britain saw its police force for 2 decades. You'd watch Dixon every Saturday evening, believing all policemen were as kind and wise as George Dixon. Your parents nodded approvingly at his moral lessons. You'd salute passing policemen on the street, calling, "Evening all," and they'd smile and salute back. Was you begged for a police helmet for Christmas to patrol your own neighbourhood? The series ran until 1976, though critics increasingly noted its disconnect from modern policing realities. Colonel March of Scotland Yard. Colonel March of Scotland Yard aired in 1955, starring Boris Karloff as the one-eyed detective heading Scotland Yard's Department of Queer Complaints, investigating impossible crimes and supernatural mysteries. Based on John Dixon Carr's short stories, the series consisted of 26 half-hour episodes filmed in Britain. Colonel March used logic and observation to solve locked-room mysteries and seemingly supernatural events, always finding rational explanations. The show combined detective fiction with gothic atmosphere, offering sophisticated mystery entertainment unusual for 1950s television. So you'd hide behind cushions during the creepy opening sequences, but couldn't stop watching. Colonel March's eye patch fascinated and frightened you simultaneously. You'd create your own impossible mysteries for your siblings to solve, hiding objects in elaborate ways and declaring them Department of Queer Complaints cases. Your mother found your detective notebook full of suspicious observations about the household. The series ended after one season, but demonstrated British television could produce atmospheric mystery programming that challenged viewers intellectually. The Adventures of Robin Hood. The Adventures of Robin Hood launched on ITV on 25 September 1955, starring Richard Greene as the legendary outlaw. Produced by Sapphire Films, the series featured Robin Hood and his merry men fighting injustice in Sherwood Forest against the Sheriff of Nottingham. Each half-hour episode combined action, adventure and moral lessons, filmed at Nettlefold Studios using British locations for forest scenes. The show became ITV's first major success, proving commercial television could produce quality family entertainment. 143 episodes were broadcast, making it one of the longest-running adventure series of the decade. You'd sing the theme tune all week. Robin Hood, riding through the glen. Every child in your street had a homemade bow and arrow, playing Robin Hood in the local woods. You'd argue over who got to be Robin, usually settling on elaborate rotating schedules. Your mother found sticks and string hidden under your bed. It's evidence of your Sherwood Forest adventures. The series ended in 1959, establishing the template for British adventure television and launching the swashbuckling genre that dominated ITV schedules. The Sooty Show premiered on BBC television in 1955, featuring Harry Corbett and his mischievous glove puppet, Bear, Sooty. Originally appearing on talent show auditions, Sooty became a children's television phenomenon, joined by friends Sweep and Sue in later years. The silent bear communicated through whispers to Harry and physical comedy, performing magic tricks and getting into chaos. The show's format, combining puppetry, magic, music and slapstick, defined children's entertainment for generations. Sooty's water-squirting antics and magic wand became iconic elements British children adored. Now you'd wait eagerly for Sooty's magic tricks, convinced they were real. When Sooty squirted water at Harry, you'd giggle uncontrollably, wishing you could do the same. Your grandmother made you a yellow Sooty puppet for your birthday, and you performed shows behind the sofa, whispering instructions just like the real Sooty. Your siblings still remember your elaborate puppet performances. The show continued for decades, transferring to ITV and passing through generations, with Matthew Corbett later taking over from his father Harry. Crackerjack. Crackerjack launched on BBC television on 14 September 1955 as a Friday tea-time variety show for children. Hosted initially by Eamon Andrews, the programme featured games, competitions, comedy sketches and musical performances. Broadcast live from BBC studios. Even the show's famous catchphrase, Crackerjack, shouted by audiences, became synonymous with Friday excitement. Children competed in games, winning prizes for correct answers but receiving cabbages for mistakes, a running gag that delighted viewers. The programme established the format of fast-paced, audience participation children's entertainment. You'd race home from school every Friday shouting, "It's Friday, it's 5 o'clock, it's Crackerjack." Your entire family knew you couldn't be disturbed during broadcast. You'd shout answers at the television during quiz segments, convinced the contestants could hear you. You applied repeatedly to be in the studio audience, checking the post daily for acceptance letters that never arrived. The show ran for nearly 30 years, becoming a British institution and launching numerous presenters' careers, including Michael Aspel, Leslie Crowther and Ed Stewart. Take Your Pick, Take Your Pick, premiered on ITV on 23 September 1955 as Britain's first television game show offering cash prizes. Hosted by Michael Miles, contestants faced the yes-no interlude where they answered questions without saying yes or no, then chose between opening numbered boxes or taking mystery prizes. The show's famous gong and Bob Danvers Walker's announcements became cultural touchstones. The format proved quiz shows could entertain while offering ordinary people chances to win money. Revolutionary for British television. The programme helped establish ITV as a popular alternative to BBC's more formal offerings. You'd watch families nervously facing the yes-no game, shouting warnings when they nearly slipped up. Your siblings played the game constantly, now trying to trick each other into saying forbidden words. You'd set up your own take your pick with cardboard boxes containing random household items, making your parents choose boxes when they came home from work. The show ran for 13 years, establishing game show formats that influenced British television for decades. Double Your Money. Double Your Money transferred from Radio Luxembourg to ITV on the 26th of September 1955, hosted by Hughie Green. Contestants answered questions on specialist subjects, with prize money doubling after each correct answer, reaching the ultimate £32 prize. Significant money in the 1950s. The show's famous £32 Treasure Trail Challenge saw successful contestants attempting increasingly difficult questions in soundproof booths. Tim Green's enthusiastic presenting style and genuine excitement for contestants' success made the programme appointment viewing. The format democratised quiz shows, proving ordinary people possessed expert knowledge worth celebrating on television. You'd watch contestants entering the soundproof booth with bated breath, completely silent in your living room. Your father would attempt the questions, keeping score of his imaginary winnings. You'd quiz your siblings on their specialist subjects, usually sweets or comics, awarding them imaginary prizes. Your mother found lists in your pockets tracking everyone's potential double your money winnings. The show ran until 1968, establishing Hughie Green as a television icon and proving quiz formats could sustain long-running success. Was Sunday Night at the London Palladium. Sunday Night at the London Palladium premiered on ITV on 25th September 1955, broadcasting live from the famous London Theatre. The variety show featured top international entertainers, comedians, singers, and specialty acts, hosted initially by Tommy Trinder. The programme's format included comedy routines, musical performances, and the famous Beat the Clock game segment where contestants attempted physical challenges against time. Broadcasting live created electricity and unpredictability that captivated viewers, regularly achieving viewing figures over 15 million. You'd sit with your entire family on Sunday evening, the week's television highlight. Your parents dressed smartly, treating it like attending theatre themselves. You'd attempt beat-the-clock challenges afterwards. It's like trying to move objects with string or stack items against time. Your father would imitate the comedians at Monday breakfast. Your mother would hum the musical numbers while doing housework all week. The show ended in 1967 as variety entertainment declined, but it established spectacle television format and proved British audiences would gather for shared live entertainment experiences. Hancock's Half Hour transferred from BBC Radio to BBC Television on the 6th of July 1956, starring Tony Hancock as a frustrated, pretentious East Cheam resident. Written by Ray Galton and Alan Simpson, the sitcom revolutionised British comedy by focusing on character rather than jokes, exploring mundane situations through Hancock's delusional self-importance. Episodes like The Blood Donor and The Radio Ham became cultural landmarks, armed with quotable dialogue entering everyday language. The programme proved comedy could be subtle, character-driven and intellectually sophisticated, while remaining accessible to mass audiences. You'd watch Hancock's disasters unfold every week, your father laughing so hard he'd cry. Your parents would quote lines constantly. "A pint? That's very nearly an armful," became family shorthand. You'd hear Hancock's voice in your head during your own disappointments. Your uncle did perfect Hancock impressions at family gatherings, recreating entire scenes from memory. The series ended in 1961, capturing a comic genius at his absolute peak, creating comedy that remains unsurpassed. Armchair Theatre, launched on ITV on 8th July 1956 as ABC Television's flagship drama anthology series. And the programme broadcast single plays every Sunday evening, initially transmitted live. Producer Sidney Newman transformed it into a showcase for contemporary drama, commissioning working-class stories and controversial subjects previously absent from British screens. Writers like Harold Pinter and Alan Owen created plays exploring modern British life's complexities. The live broadcasts created legendary moments that made each transmission an event audiences couldn't miss. You weren't always allowed to watch armchair theatre. Your parents considered some plays too adult. You'd sit on the stairs listening to dramatic dialogue floating from the living room. When permitted to watch, you'd see your parents completely absorbed, the room silent except for television voices. Your father would smoke thoughtfully, or your mother would dab her eyes during emotional moments. The programme transformed Sunday evenings into occasions for serious drama, establishing British television drama's reputation for quality and innovation. 6-5 Special. 6-5 Special premiered on BBC Television on 16th February 1957, Britain's first television programme dedicated to rock and roll music. Broadcast Saturday evenings at 6:05 p.m. The show filled the newly abolished toddler's truce when television previously shut down between 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. Presented by Pete Murray and Josephine Douglas, the programme featured live performances, jazz, skiffle, and early rock and roll. The show's studio audience of dancing teenagers created electric atmosphere unprecedented on British television, proving adolescents represented a distinct audience with their own musical tastes. Yes, you'd wait all week for Saturday's 6-5 Special, positioning yourself by the television before broadcast. Your parents complained about the music's loudness, but you'd turn the volume up anyway. You'd memorise lyrics to sing with friends at school Monday morning. Your mother found Radio Luxembourg frequency written on your school books. You'd listen late at night under your blankets. The show ended in December 1958, but proved teenage audiences were valuable. The Army Game. The Army Game launched on ITV on 19th June 1957 as Granada Television's sitcom about national service conscripts. The series followed misfit soldiers in Hut 29 at a surplus ordnance depot, avoiding work and outwitting their superiors. Created by Sid Collin, the show featured Bill Fraser as Sergeant Major Snudge and Alfie Bass as Private Excuse Boots Bisley. The comedy derived from class tensions, military absurdity, and characters' desperate attempts to escape duties, reflecting national service's reality for millions of British men. You'd watch with your father, who'd laugh knowingly at jokes about military life from his own national service days. He'd share stories about his own Sergeant Major, comparing him to characters on screen. Your uncle would visit specifically to watch, both men reminiscing. You'd hear phrases like, "I only asked," repeated constantly, becoming family catchphrases. The series ended in 1961 as national service itself ended, removing the common experience that made the comedy universally recognisable. These programmes didn't just disappear because tastes changed. The entire system that created them collapsed. Live broadcasting meant one chance to succeed or fail. It's in creating unrepeatable tension. Limited channels meant national audiences watched simultaneously, creating shared cultural experiences impossible in today's fragmented media landscape. The abolition of the toddler's truce, the end of national service, the rise of colour television, and the shift from live to recorded programming transformed what television could be. You raced home because missing a show meant missing it forever. No recordings existed, no repeats were guaranteed, no catch-up services rescued you. The appointment viewing culture created communities bound by shared schedules and Monday morning conversations about what everyone watched. Streaming services offer convenience, but they've eliminated the collective experience of national audiences gathering simultaneously for programmes that vanished into air the moment they finished broadcasting. You're right to remember it as special, because it genuinely was.
It really, really was. Some memories there. In fact, I'm delighted to say some of them I don't remember. A lot of them I do. But it certainly starts to make you feel somewhat old. But with some very happy memories. Obviously, The Adventures of Robin Hood was always one. Very, very much so. Watching that in children's television programmes at the time. And there was other ones like Richard the Lionheart and Drake, Captain Drake, something like, Raleigh and Drake and all that lot, all of the same type of ilk anyway, which I remember very much so. And as I've mentioned many times before, there's a lot of happy memories in there for a lot of our viewers this evening. But for me, in fact, funnily enough, I was seeing one the other night all about Thunderbirds, and of course, we are the generation that for the Thunderbirds, the very first time round. And it's amazing, and I still like to catch the old one or two. They were brilliant. They really, really were. And we had some good kids programs back then. I mean, I don't like the sort of animations they do now. Modern day cartoons, no, they don't do anything for me. Give me Tom and Jerry, give me Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, and all that. Like, yeah, now they're proper. They're proper. And I'm sure a lot of you would agree on that, actually. But because some of these animations today, they're rubbish. Let's face it, it's American rubbish. Anyway, before I get pulled off air. And a lot of people in the comments, as you can see here, absolutely. Oh, it's moved to that side now, isn't it? Over here, a lot of people loving that. A lot of people love that. So keep your comments coming in. That's just about it from us. We've got to do the quiz now. We're going to give the. Now I do expect people to be getting. There'll be a few people getting all these right tonight. Yeah, they didn't, as Dennis Perkins pointed out, actually, to do with the kids program, they didn't show you Ragtag and Bobtail, and we did see Bill and Ben and things like that, but Ragtag and Bobtail and all that lot, oh, such happy memories, yeah. It's a different time away. Absolutely it is. Right, now with the quiz, we'll go through the questions straight away and we'll ask you to put your appropriate answers in, keeping them clean, please. But I am expecting a lot of you to get a full shop already. So here we go then. The first question we asked. Now this is interesting. Where in Old Hinckley was the round hill? Now I'm going to sit on that just for a moment. If actually what I ought to do is put the quiz one up. Let's put and then you can see the answers coming in for those people watching it. Yeah. Now then, Jane Brown comes. Oh, Jane, I didn't realise you'd come in tonight. Jane, bless you. She says it's their marketplace in the borough, and so does Tasha Denny. The borough. Yes, I will give you that. The old marketplace in the borough. And Daniel Coburn says the borough, but it was also location of the town jail at one time as well, or GOAL or whatever, that type of jail. Yeah. Anyway, Kevin Beasley says Elmsthorpe, not that round hill, but I know where you're coming from, Kevin. Fair enough. The correct answer was, of course, the borough. Now, actually, on the old Hinckley map, which HDPP have made available, which you can buy from Jaspers, there's the advert. The 1782 map, the round hill is marked on there, and it's sort of on Duke Street, Duke Lane, Duke Alley, beyond the Jolly Bacchus. It was that area. It was that area of like the borough, the marketplace. Just so you get it, just get a rough idea. So that's where the round hill was in Hinckley. Okay, how many clever people realised the answer to this one? Which country is known as the land of the long white cloud? Carol Beasley comes in correct with that one, as does Jane Brown and as does Pat Galloway. Well done, as you can see there on your screen. And Tasha's coming in with the right one as well. New Zealand. Yeah, the long white. I learned something. I didn't know that. I thought, that's a good one to throw in, but I can't keep you people down. You're clever clogs, you really are. So far so good. You've got 2 out of 2, most of you, I can see. And Daniel Coburn said exactly the same. I didn't know this one, but learned something new. Yeah. And Jan Kirby says, been there. There you go, you see. New Zealand was the answer we were looking for that. Okay, then, our next one. What's the answer to this one? In a bush, 26-year-old pregnant lady, a 30-year-old policeman. Anyway, you've seen all that, yeah. So, who is the youngest there? And the answer's coming in at the bottom of the screen. You can see in the chat window. Tash Denny getting it right. The unborn baby, as does Jane Brown, as does Jan Kirby. Well done. The unborn baby, Carol Beasley. Yes, you're quite right. Yes, the unborn baby is the youngest actually in that particular scenario, let's say. Oh, look, everyone's getting that one right. We're definitely on for 4 out of 4 tonight, I'm pretty sure, as we bring up for the final time tonight. You can't quite see it there, but anyway... there it is. So my chat window's just covering some of the question there. But anyway, you've got it. Let's see who comes in with the right one. And straight away, we knew that Mr. Smuggley were going to get it right. He hasn't even put it in yet, but he's done it right. So correct answer: St James's Church, New Bold Verdon. So well done to Jane, well done to Pat Galloway, as Jan Kirby as well done. We know Mr. Smuggley got it early and then cleared off. Yeah, I've got that right. I'm off tomorrow now. Yeah, so Tash, quite right. St James's Church, New Bolverden. Some people tonight have definitely got 4 out of 4. If you'd like to claim your 4 out of 4s now is the time to do it. Yeah, Tash Jenny. He's with me. I wouldn't shout that about too blooming much. Not many people want to be left alone with Mr. Smuggley, would they? Anyway, let's have your scores, please. Bring them in. And I say, I do. Oh, look. Dave B said, I guessed 2 and 3. Well, it doesn't matter to guess. And don't use these search engines. If you don't know it, we don't know it. And it's as simple as that. But if you learn something, you learn something. It's got to be good, isn't it? Absolutely. So, let's see. Kevin Beasley says, my usual one this week. Tash Jenny's got 4 out of 4. She's celebrating tonight. Probably with a glass of milk. Won't be much more, probably a rich tea biscuit if Mr. Smuggley's got anything to do with it. Jane Brown says, yay, 4 for us tonight. Well done, Jane, as well. Say Tasha's got 4. Pat Galloway said got 3. And 2 out of 4 for Daniel Coburn. Well done. I didn't see Dangerous Den. He'll be putting his in just a moment. Yeah. Pat Galloway said, I didn't get round Hills, but like I say, if you look on the Hinckley map of 1782, it is clearly marked the Round Hill in the town. Like I say, side of the jail and other things, but roughly speaking, that area of the borough. Now then, Jeff Wallace, all the way from Brigg tonight. Come back to Hinckley. Come back. You don't want to be up there anymore, do you? Just 2 for us tonight. Well done, Jeff. Hopefully we'll catch up in the club on Saturday lunchtime now. Now you've only just round the corner, and we'll see you at some socials, hopefully, as well. That'll be good. So, well done. Give yourself, actually, in fact, I'll tell you what I'll do. Let me find, let's have some applause. Well done for getting if you got 4 out of 4 in the quiz, well done tonight. I think next week we'll make it, I think what we ought to call the next one, we ought to call it the stinker quiz. I was thinking about this earlier on. I went to make my cup of tea with my HDPP mug, available from Jasper's, of course. I went to make that and I thought, why don't we call it the stinker quiz and have some real toughies? You know, real tough. But I'm a big believer, if you're doing a competition, you want to make some easy ones so people feel inclined to want to have a go. We learnt this very much in radio days. If you made your quiz too difficult, people wouldn't bother. But if they think they're in with a chance of getting it right or something right, they'll have a go. That's how it works. There we go. Well, Mrs. Smuggley's gone. She said, thank you, good night. And she's gone. Mrs. Smuggley, don't forget your raffle prize from Christmas. There's not the rental charge on it is not very much. It's quite a nominal fee, you understand. Anyway, that's just about it from me. It's so much better to be feeling better too and being able to get through the programme without coughing and spluttering all over the place. I'll be back here next Sunday night now because, well, I think we've only got about another 4 or 5 live streams. Before the light nights, we'll be back. When we adjust the clocks, that's when we stop the live streams, as you know. Gives you a rest from this silly old face. And you can get all the way through the summer and into the autumn before you have to look at it again. I can't blame you for that. And also, I should be on FOSS 107 on Sunday mornings, of course, 8 through till 11. If you can join me on that, that'll be great. And I'm looking forward to seeing most of you, where possible, on Wednesday evening for our grand presentation. I always like that night. It's a great night. And it's a great way you can see where the money which we've raised from the last 12 months of fundraising, where it's going to. Some wonderful good causes we are supporting. Glad you all enjoyed it. You'll send your goodbyes in the chat room. I can see you now. Would the last person in the chat room turn the light off, please, and shut the door? That'd be brilliant. And I'll look forward to your company next week, or indeed, I'll see you on Wednesday night. Until then, take care. Ta-da.
We're making history. HDPP chapter of history. Supporting local causes. Streaming HDPP live. Betty is our queen bee. The sweetest honey can be. Dangerous Den here again. HDPP live. Hey, you know it, keep it.
Oh, hello. You know this part of the programme is what we don't talk about this part of the programme, and who would? Who would want to talk about this particular part of the programme? But this is just the bit where we, cooey. This is also the part of the programme, so we don't talk about, we have a few dad jokes, just to round the night off, end the weekend with a laugh. And let's face it, we need it these days. Absolutely we do. So if you're ready, here we go with 6 very quick dad jokes. Right, here we go. What do runners eat before a race? Nothing, they fast. Good, that's a good one to start with. Why can't you make clothes out of cheese? Because the fromage phrase. I like that one. What's small, red and whispers? A horseradish. What's an ice cream's favourite TV show? Game of Cones. What do you call a droid that takes the long way round? R2D2. And finally, what's the best thing about living in Switzerland? Well, the flag's a big plus. I'll see you next time. Take care. Ta-da.